Okay, this next step, I'm going to show you how we like to set the instrument panel. The depth is, you can customize that. We show on the plans to set it at 6 inches from bulkhead B. That's plenty of room for standard instruments. If you've got maybe a panel mounted transceiver or something like that, like some of the deeper stuff, it might look at that, it might be 8 or 9 inches deep. You can position it so it fits through B, or you can split the instrument panel back to about maybe 8 inches, 8.5 inches, and still not be out beyond the instrument cover cutout. But we're going to set this one at 6 inches, just like the plan shows. These are the little brackets that's going to hold the instrument panel. They're just 1 inch by 1/8 inch angle that will come in your kit, and we've got these. I measured back 6 inches from B. Already had these set in place, but this one goes on this side. You'll see you got a little radius on the side just to make sure it clears the instrument cover. And then I'll click all these in place. On each side. And then the same thing on the instrument cover. This is the instrument cover. We had marked back 6 inches from B. Put in just, we'll cleco that in place there. And then we'll get this cleco down in place. And then we just start trimming. The instrument panel on your plans is going to be a little bit oversized. So we'll just keep trimming the edge of it until it slides back against these brackets. Leave about 1/8 inch of clearance all the way around, because you're going to soft mount the instrument panel just like an isolation mount, so that you don't transfer the airframe vibration into the instrument panel. So we'll get the instrument cover back in place. We're going to go ahead and cleco that all down. We'll also want to have the windshield bow clecoed in place, because with that just on there loose, you're going to see that it'll change shape until you put this in and fasten the skin onto the bow. Then it locks everything down. But we'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, we've gotten things clecoed back in place. You notice of course all the silver clecos are 3/32. You've probably figured that out by now. So we've got it clecoed on the bottom rail, or on the side rail there. Every other hole, the way I process it is I'll drill in between there with 1/8 inch, put 1/8 inch clecos in, take the 3/32 out, drill those in, take every one of these out, drill them in 1/8 inch, and keep right on moving around. So that'll lock the instrument cover down in place. Now, one thing I didn't cover before is, while we had this cover off and we measured back to 6 inches, those little brackets that are on the side rails, obviously it's a job now to get in there and drill and tap those holes. So those have been drilled and tapped. You want to set when we set the instrument panel in there, we set it up off the side rail about 1/16 of an inch. Just set a piece of scrap or whatever you've got laying around to set it up off the side rail so it isolates it, and then cleco that in place. Or start with an 1/8 inch hole, and you can cleco them in, and then that'll set the side rail mounting positions for you. And then this top piece, don't make the mistake of drilling this hole without this bow in here. Because you can see, when I push on this, see how that changes the shape? If I push on it anywhere, it changes the shape. So now that we've got the shape locked down by this windshield bow, then we can go ahead and drill a hole clear through that plate, or the mounting bracket, and the instrument panel, and that'll be our location. We'll take this back off, drill and tap this hole, or tap it, drill it out to an 832 tap dimension, and these will all be 832, and we'll show you the mounting grommets and stuff when we do the instrument panel. But we're going to break away now, and we're going to go ahead and rivet the instrument cover all in place, and then we'll start on the windshield and the canopy. Okay, in this segment we're going to look at the windshield. It basically just consists of the Lexan material, the windshield bow, and the 2 windshield fairings. We've jumped ahead here a little bit. The fairings will have a hole in the center so you can put a cleco through, that top center bulkhead hole. If you're like us, we forgot to leave that out. We had to drill that out. So that's in place, and I've got the other side clamped. Now what I mean by that is this fairing has got a groove or a crease line in it, just like the turtle deck. And when you get to the canopy, there'll be a little crease line that holds, it's a retainer for the canopy. So we'd like to have that line all continuous all the way around the airplane. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it as close as you can, so that's what we're shooting for. And it measures about 6 inches from the side rail up to that crease. So I've got a mark here at 6 inches. I'm just going to clamp this molding on there at 6 inches to the crease, which would be the center line. And that's just kind of rough on there now. So you'll notice the windshield material will come to you with extra material all the way around it. If you want to make yours a little bit longer, you know, out onto the tank, we keep it back off the tank cover so that the tank cover is removable. It gets complicated if you run it out onto there to make a longer windshield, because then you've got to have this all removable, or the tank cover's got to slide out from under it. It just becomes a lot of different things have to happen there. So we keep it back on the instrument cover. Leave about 1 inch of material when you trim it, because that's just going to hang off the back here and not going to hurt anything. You'd hate to trim it too close and realize that for whatever reason this isn't the right angle. You know, this front bow is at 110 degrees. If you put it at 105, you're not going to be long enough up here. So just leave a little extra material in the back. We've left about 1 inch all the way around here. And then we just want to bow this, slide it into the fairings kind of loosely for now. Shove it up in there, get it kind of nested good. Okay, and that's where we're going to start. Now, you can always pull it back, just you don't want to push down on top of the instrument cover, so you want a little gap in there, so then you can start working it back. At this point, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get these pulled down close, make sure everything fits pretty smoothly. And we can start drilling and clecoing this around the edge so that we get this windshield molding tacked down. Same thing on the other side. The last thing we'll do is we'll mark and trim the aft end off of here. But keep in mind this is 2-inch spacing along the windshield molding, as well as the soft rivets that go through the Lexan. We'll show that in the assembly part of this. And then it's 4-inch spacing around the bow. That's just recommended. You know, there's plenty of rivets. If you want them closer, that's fine. I probably wouldn't spread them out any farther than that. But so 2-inch around the bottom here, and then 4-inch up here over the top. So we're going to go ahead and get this pre-assembled, clecoed in place, and we'll come back and show you before we trim. Okay, as you recall, we're at a point where now we've pre-fit the windshield into the windshield bow and had all the windshield fairings on in place. There's a couple things it's easier to do now than later. One, of course, is you've got the rivet line where the windshield molding will attach along here. So that gives you a good reference line for the paint. And you can just paint everything, mask it off. We use just a flat black paint, so there's no reflection. This obviously is a anti-glare shield that you're putting in so that once the windshield's on, you're not getting reflection off the aluminum. We like to paint that, like I said, with a matte black paint. And then you'll also notice that we've painted on the inside, this would be the inside of the windshield moldings, okay, on both of these. They'll go together, that's the windshield moldings. We've painted those flat black as well. And then, of course, you're going to put rivets through here, and those are going to be exposed on the inside. So we've painted, just taken the rivets, poked them through a piece of cardboard, and painted the heads or the shop end of those, so when they stick through, everything inside here then will be painted. There's also a washer that goes on the inside of the plastic, the inside of the windshield. Rivet goes through the molding, through the plastic, and then these washers we've also painted black that'll go on the inside. Now, one thing we want to point out is that in typical fashion, you'll have this all clecoed together, then you'll start riveting the of course you'll want to rivet the molding down first. That's the way you think it should go together. You'll have a real difficult time tucking these washers in onto the rivets when you go to rivet the plastic then to the windshield molding. So what we suggest doing is with everything trial fit, of course you've opened up all these holes in the plastic to 3/16. You don't want the rivet compressing and expanding into that 1/8" hole, so you've opened them up to 3/16 every place that it gets riveted. So we're going to put the moldings onto the windshield. We're going to put the moldings onto the windshield first, and then attach the whole assembly down to the fuselage. That'll save, you can see when that goes on there, it's really tough to get up in the front here and down in these sides to get the washer on and everything at once. So the molding will be attached and riveted, finished up, and then we're going to put the whole assembly back onto the fuselage and rivet the windshield molding to the instrument cover skin, and the windshield bow will get final riveted into the instrument cover skin as well. So we're going to go ahead and rivet these on, rivet up around the windshield bow, and then we'll come back with a cleat on to the fuselage before we rivet to the fuselage. As you can see, we've attached the windshield moldings and windshield bow. It worked out really well. Everything was clecoed on, the windshield plastic was clecoed on to the windshield bow. We riveted the moldings to the plastic. We riveted the plastic to the bow up here. We then just set it in place, clecoed everything down, and got everything lined up really well. It lined up perfectly, and we went ahead and put the AVEX rivets then in. As you can see, these are those soft button head rivets because you're pulling against the plastic through these. So we use that button head rivet. It's a softer rivet material. And then these are just the standard AVEX rivets that you use on everything else to attach the rest of it. So that's the windshield installed.